trainings or even sometimes coaching, I realize people can talk about something for hours, and in the end, you realize everybody's talking about something different. They're using the same word, but they have completely different meanings for it and connotations for it. They're having a big argument, or they're even agreeing, but they're actually not even thinking about the meaning of the word in the same way. So for this table topic session, I want to start from the beginning and ask you, first of all, what is democracy? Matt. Do not ask me a question again, I'm not telling you.
What is democracy? Oh my God. I live in fear of this woman because a couple of weeks ago, she was also the table topics leader. And the questions she was asking, I was just sitting there in my chair. They were so difficult, and I was sitting there in my chair thinking, oh my God, don't call on me, please. And tonight I'm the first one, and I have to define what is democracy.
Your fears always come true.
Yes, okay. What is democracy? Hell if I know. Okay. Okay, yes, I'll just make up something. Okay. Democracy is way too big of a subject to cover in 90 seconds. So, I'm just going to cover one extremely small part of it. Often, democracy is associated with voting. Oh, and fortunately, I've barely even begun to speak, and already the green light is on. Thank you, Father. Democracy is often associated with voting. One man, one vote. And I think that's a terrible way to look at democracy. Far more important in defining democracy is listening to people and making sure that their concerns are taken care of. And with that, since the green light is already on, I'm going to stop right there and put line ahead. Thank you very much.
So Matt touched on an interesting point. So I'd like to go a bit further with that, expound on that idea. And I'd like to ask the question, can the majority always be trusted to make the right decision? Arturo.
So the majority, I would say, cannot be always be trusted because of this problem of knowledge. Imagine that you're in an elevator and there's a bomb connected to the elevator and there are 1 to 10 buttons on the elevator. If you press one of the buttons, the bomb will explode. There's one guy, just only one guy, who knows which button that is. And he says number 3. If you press number 3, the bomb will explode. Let's press any other button. But everybody votes for number 3 to be pressed. Do we press the number 3 or do we not press it? Will the bomb explode? Will it not? If the majority is to be trusted, the bomb will explode.
So again, building on that fascinating idea by Arturo, I'd like to take that even further and ask, is it possible for a democratic society to vote to not have a democracy? And that's a question for Necip.
Well, first of all, I have to tell you that I'm not in favor of democracy. because I think all over the world, the majority of people is not intelligent. Therefore, coming back to your question, if we ask a society whose majority is not clever, would you say, okay, if we take the right from your hands to vote, they would of course say no. So they would, I assume, they would stick to democracy, because only in democracy their one vote would equal the vote of those, the minority of those which are clever, I think. So that's the answer to your question. I don't have a green light yet. I know that I'm going to be.
People are talking really short.
I have already answered.
Talk and run. I don't know what's going on, but people are just talking and running from the stage. Just talking and running. What's going on? So let's make it a little bit more personal, so we'll get, a little bit more out of people about the topic. So I would like to ask Claudia, is there democracy in your family? Why or why not?
Is there democracy in my family? My family, there are 4 people. There's me, my sister, my mother, and my father. And who's taking the decision is, of course, my mother. My father is the one who's always working. And as far as I know, since I'm a kid, he never talked. Even with me, it was really, really few things every day. How are you? Everything is okay. Done. My mother was the one who's taking the decisions, and she was not listening to anybody. It's just, you do this, your sister does this, and your father does this, and everything's gonna run perfectly fine. And this is what happened. So I think I trust my mother's judgment. I think she's a good queen of the house. Even though I would like sometimes to have some democracy in my house, in my family, because even when I was a kid, I wanted to say my own opinion and say, hey, I want to say this. Or maybe this is my education, I want to choose my high school, you don't have to say that. But at the end I turned out to be fine, my sister is fine, my father is more than fine, so thank you my mother, which is the queen, and she didn't let us be in our democracy.
I'd like to ask one of the guests, maybe one of the people from Citibank, since we have 2 of them, they can have a democratic vote amongst themselves who will come. Do you need freedom to have democracy? And if you have a democracy, does it mean you have freedom? Who wants to come?
A city guy.
A city guy.
Well, if you have the democracy, if you live in a highly uneducated environment, so this is easily manipulated environment. So that's result of autocracy at the end of this democracy. It's like simple Turkey now. So every time democracy is not meaning freedom, but good, how can I say, if you run democracy or the rules, it's like northern countries in Europe, maybe it's freedom. But anyway, it's a limited. At the end, it's a limited freedom. It's not fully freedom.
I'd like to ask you a question, since your eyes are so beautiful. What are your 3 most important values and why?
Wow, That's an excellent question. I would say probably that my three most important values to me, the first would be integrity. And integrity both in the means of a personal stance of oneself as well as being articulate and honest with people when you're expressing yourself. I think that it's very, very important in our lives, both our personal relationships as well as our business relationships, to know what is that line within us of our integrity, so that we have sort of a compass that is always guiding us as we go into our various places and our various roles and how we interpret that. Probably the second thing for me would be compassion. I really truly believe that if you want to be the type of person that you feel will treat others the way that you would be treated, you know, it's a very golden rule type thing, that to show compassion to other individuals will teach you how to also have compassion for yourself and how to bring it about in the community of people you interrelate with. The third thing that I think would be of most value to me is personal responsibility. And that actually kind of ties to democracy. Because to be able to actually be in a democracy, you have to be willing to take the time to educate yourself so that you understand and you can think freely and make decisions freely and take your responsibility for them. You learn how to clearly represent yourself then, and you can move forward your opinions to people in a compassionate manner and in a positive manner in the world.
And the last question of the evening goes to David. Do you have freedom to do whatever you want? Why or why not?
Thank you, Leilani. Do we have freedom
So
to
do you have the freedom to do whatever you want? Why or why not?
Do I have the freedom to do whatever I want? Why or why not? Well, that question goes back to we, because it is a personal decision, but I'll answer your question directly in terms of me. Do I have the freedom to do whatever I want? So I believe the answer to that is yes, you do. I do have the freedom to do whatever I want. There's nothing stopping me from doing whatever I think about. And it's a beauty that we have, it's an advantage that we have because we live in a democratic country. Turkey is a democratic country. It's on its way to join the EU. So we are in a country that has many freedoms. And we have the right to live these freedoms. As a person, we have the right to do this, and also as another person. And we interact with each other. And we create waves, shock waves, by the things that we do. These shock waves, they can have a positive effect and a negative effect. Or it could be a negative effect that creates a very positive effect. But that at the end of the day, we are free to make our own decisions. And by making our own decisions, we create our own reality. And our reality, the interesting thing is our reality affects the people that we come in contact with as well. So reality affects each other. So to answer your question, yes, I'm free to do whatever I want later on.
Good to know.
Okay, thank you, Leilani, for your great questions. So, given that we have more speakers, we have 7 speakers. From last one, David, Ertuğrul,
Candy?
Candy, and we had Matt, we had